I'm not ashamed to own my Lord, nor to defend his cause. Maintain the honors of his word, the glory of his cross.
Hello, I'm James Brown, and on behalf of the Eastern Church of Christ located in Toronto, Canada, I'd like to welcome you to today's edition of Walking Through the Bible, a podcast where we seek to study the Bible and the Bible alone. Please stick around afterwards for information on how you can contact us. But for now, please go to the book of Genesis, and we'll turn you over to Jeremy Dieselkamp for our study of the day.
Thank you, James, and welcome to all of our viewers. This is the 135th lesson in our study of Genesis. On Saturday, we covered Genesis chapter 39, verses 7 to 18, discussing Potiphar's wife falsely accusing Joseph of attempted rape. If you missed that episode and would like to watch it, you can find it and all of our other podcasts on our website at www.eastendchurch.org. You can also find them on our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/EastEndChurchOfChrist under the Walking Through the Bible Genesis playlist. Today we're going to begin with Genesis 39:19 and read through verse 23. The text that you'll see on the screen is from the English Standard Version, but you're welcome to follow along with any version that you have. So let's now read Genesis 39 beginning at verse 19. As soon as his master heard the words that his wife spoke to him, "This is the way your servant treated me," his anger was kindled, and Joseph's master took him and put him into the prison, the place where the king's prisoners were confined, and he was there in prison. But the Lord was with Joseph, and showed him steadfast love, and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison. And the keeper of the prison put Joseph in charge of all the prisoners who were in the prison. Whatever was done there, he was the one who did it. The keeper of the prison paid no attention to anything that was in Joseph's charge, because the Lord was with him. And whatever he did, the Lord made it succeed. On Saturday, we discussed how Potiphar's wife attempted to seduce Joseph to have sex with her. She didn't attempt to do this once or even twice. The passage said she tried to do this every day. If Joseph were of weaker faith in God, perhaps he might have simply given in because of her insistence. But he didn't, for he not only respected his master, but he respected God, that he wouldn't sin against him. However, one day Joseph was alone in the house because presumably the rest of the servants were off doing something else. With there being no witnesses, Potiphar's wife decided to make her move. She grabbed Joseph in order to force him to have sex with her. However, he fled, leaving his coat behind. As we discussed on Saturday, it probably wasn't wise for Joseph to be alone with this woman, given her past behavior, but it was not sin. He had a job to do, and as long as he didn't attempt to seduce this woman, there was nothing sinful that he did. It does, however, teach us that even when something isn't sinful, it may not be wise for us to do, for it could end up getting us into trouble. And trouble is just what Joseph found. Having done the only thing he could do, which was leave his garment behind and flee, it gave Potiphar's wife an opportunity to accuse Joseph of rape and get rid of him. Now perhaps that was her plan all along, seeing as how Joseph had become so important to Potiphar. But regardless, she now accused Joseph of something he didn't do. When Potiphar heard of it, seeing as how the evidence seemed overwhelming, for he must have thought how else would his wife have Joseph's garment, he got angry with Joseph and threw him into the prison where the king's prisoners were confined. It only took one accusation for Joseph's reputation to be tarnished forever in the eyes of Potiphar. We might look at this story and say that Potiphar acted unjustly, but you must ask yourself, if you were put in the same situation, would you act any differently? After all, it wasn't just Potiphar's wife's word against Joseph's. She also had his clothing. So yes, while we might know that Potiphar's wife was lying here, Potiphar didn't know that, and so he put what he thought was an attempted rapist in prison. Yet for Joseph, all was not lost, for our reading today says that God was with him. God knew all. He knew the treachery that Potiphar's wife had done, and while he did not intervene by telling Potiphar this, he did not abandon Joseph because Joseph was still walking faithfully in his sight. How did God show his favor towards Joseph while he was in prison? The same way he did while Joseph was with Potiphar, by making everything Joseph did succeed in his hands. You see, even while Joseph was in prison, Joseph never ceased to do the work that he was given to do and do it well. And the keeper of the prison noticed that, and so placed him in charge of all the prisoners in the prison and whatever task that needed to be done. Think about it. Joseph was supposed to be rotting away in prison, yet he was put in charge of practically everything. Now, before we get too carried away, Joseph was still in prison and not free, but things weren't as bad as they could have been. All of this because Joseph trusted in God and because God was with Joseph. With that, our time is up for today. Please join us, Lord willing, tomorrow when we will continue our study of Genesis, beginning with Genesis 40, verse 1.
Thank you, Jeremy. And to our viewers, we also thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking on the subscribe button below. Should you have a question or comment, please leave them below or email them to answerintheword@gmail.com. We'll try to respond to you as quickly as we can. We hope you'll join us, the Lord willing, tomorrow when we will be continuing on our study of the book of Genesis. Goodbye for now and have a great day.
I'm not ashamed to own my Lord, nor to